Greetings, Internet. My name is Chris. This is a very abrupt start to the video. I started my recording of this run here a little bit into it, which is why I just started off out of nowhere. This is Veteran Dragonstar Arena. I'm running with three very good players on the DC Alliance and North American server. This is of course the Elder Scrolls Online. You're gonna see a lot of really crazy tactics and such. So yeah, there's that.
Oh, congrats on your score, by the way.
I have lowered the volume of the background talk because it's otherwise just gonna, I don't know, be disturbing, I think. My text chat is of course blurred out for privacy reasons. You'll see me doing a few things here. I'll try to comment on them as I do it. Like for example right there, in the first stage the guys with the shield will drop a circle of protection, but if you bash them at the certain or the right time, it's gonna interrupt them. We'll see it happen again in a few seconds. This is the boss round. Just look at the boss's health in the top. I'm running with two Nightblades, a Templar, and then I'm a DK tank. See, circle protection, I wasn't fast enough for that one. You can actually interrupt the boss when he does his circle protection, which is pretty nice. See, boss went down. I think that took 30 seconds. Healer goes down right there. I don't remember why. I think it's because one of the explosions. You will see quite a lot of deaths. Many of them are my fault. Yeah. I'm not used to these kind of fast runs. Like this one was crazy fast. And I don't know if you noticed, but Gilliam just managed to interrupt that shield guy once. I wasn't fast enough to interrupt him again though. But yeah, so I'm playing with Ulterior. Let me try it again. Ulterior Motive, who's also known as Fire Tempest, and I'm playing with Gilliam, who I think is one of the best DPSs on the North American server, and then I'm playing with Sloppy Bowjob, also known as Lou. Here you have the two DPSs go up north, and the healer goes down bottom. Or west, I mean. I go west as well. I don't know why. Like I haven't done this tactic before at this time. And here you can see me chain, or try to chain at least, the archer. You'll see a lot of things done here for the sake of speed, not for the sake of survivability. Also, something I want you to pay attention to is that a lot of the times when I taunt things, I put myself away from the group in a way that if they ever do a fire line, frost line, quake, whatever kind of ability they have that goes in a straight line, it's not gonna hit anyone else but me, or at least try to hit me. That's a very good thing to keep in mind if you're doing Veteran Dragonstar Arena. Something else you'll see me do as well is dodge roll when I chain in enemies. This can sometimes mean, for example with the archer here, if I dodge roll away, sometimes he's not gonna backpedal. As you can see, he actually stopped right where I chained him to. That's a very good thing because otherwise they'll just backpedal away from you, which makes the chaining pretty much how do you say, like, unnecessary, I should say. Sometimes you can force an enemy to backpedal and then chain them, but you need to be close to them in order to do that. And some of the archers spawn either east or west side, which means I can't really do that. Here's another one where I'm gonna chain it and roll back. You can see she didn't move either. That's pretty good. It only really works if you have the aggro of the enemy you're doing it to, though. And there are some stages in Vet DSA where the enemies won't backpedal. The third stage is a good example. You have a bunch of casters, but if you chain them close, they'll just stop where you chain them to, basically. So yeah, I was fortunate enough to get on this run here. It wasn't the greatest run we had 2 wipes, and I think probably because of me in some way. You can see the archer there just backpedal. Like at the time of this run, I had not done a speed run like this in a month, I think. And there's gonna be a lot of deaths where it's me not taunting everything. But I don't know if you noticed with the first stage on the boss round, but they got the boss down so fast that me being able to pick up 8 or 10 enemies at the same time becomes very, very difficult. But basically what we're doing here for DPS is exploiting the fact that you can damage an enemy before it comes out of the portal. You can see the portals are actually, you're able to hit those with AoE or cone effects. Just look at the boss health, this is retarded. And the mage is dead, that's like 10 seconds. Now we get a bunch of ads on us. You can see I still try to chain a bit. It's very important that you try and group stuff together when you're doing a speedrun, because if you do, it's just going to be way faster. And your DPSs can show off their very, very big numbers because they're hitting 6 or 7 enemies at the same time. Something, I don't know if many people are aware of this, but there's something with vet DSA and trials at the moment for the scoring system. It is essentially all about speed now. I have done a thread on the forums, I'll have a link to it in the description, where it's basically, I think, 24 different runs through vet DSA, and then I put them into a graph, and I do something called regression, I think it is, where basically it estimates what kind of graph line would go through all those plot points. And essentially it's just a linear graph, meaning that it's a very, very simple scoring system. And what it led to was a conclusion that speed is the only factor. Like, it's not even like it was before, where a death would cost you 5 minutes because your score was essentially just the amount of time it took you to beat the beat whichever thing you were doing, trials or vet DSA. But now it's just all about speed. For trials, you also of course have the hard modes, but you don't have that sort of thing for vet DSA. Make it kind of, I wouldn't say it's less skillful, but the gap between the fast and the skillful players is very small, making it hard to get on the leaderboard, I think. Because, for example, this run here, I think we ended up getting almost 10k, 0.2. So 10.2k score. Almost, at least. It was like 10,180, I think. And that's with 2 wipes. But that's because the DPS here is just fucking crazy. I mean, like, these 3 people I'm in the group with all have a score that's above 11k. Like, it's just retarded. Like, if you do the math on it, if you have an idea how much a minute is worth or how much a second is worth in score, you'll figure out that for 11k score you need to do it in, I think, 40 something minutes, like 47 minutes, 45 or so, which is like it's just funny to me, because before 1.6, when they sort of screwed up the scoring system, it was like the number 1 time I remember was 52 minutes, but that was with no deaths, which is very impressive to pull off in vet DSA. Now it's like, oh, we had a death, doesn't matter, we're still fast as hell. It's just kind of weird. You're gonna see me die here in a second. I get trapped in between two green mists. I'm also gonna cut this video up into 2. See, there's 1 mist and there's the other, dead. But yeah, like, you're gonna see a few stupid plays from me. But yeah, as I said, I'm gonna split this video into 2 because it's very long. It's 53 minutes, I think. Something they should have done here, which they didn't, is they should have rested me. and not let me rest myself. Or maybe I should have waited for them to rest me, because this basically means I have to wait a while before I can actually do anything. Like right now I'm completely useless because I'm in ghost form. But, okay, I'm back to normal. There we go. You can see something, I don't know if you noticed that, but I taunted both of them, but one of the taunts just did not hit the melee guy, Shiltia or whatever she's called. I still think the game has a lot of really significant bugs caused by latency and such. Like, I have a lot of times where a bash won't connect with a target. You can see both of the DPSs died here because they were stacking when
Yeah, no kidding.
when an Ariat came out, and they basically just got owned by the water. But you can also see
Oh, fuck this Nereid.
the healer is basically just spamming shards, which does a lot of damage. It's an easy way to get a lot of damage as a healer, just spamming shards on a target. It's also an interrupt at the same time, which is very useful. And that was the boss stage. Like, it's just a crazy run, basically. But yeah, as I said, the scoring is kind of weird. Like, you just have to be as fast as possible. Like, you can see he barely spends any time repairing and just goes through the portal, because it's all about those few seconds. There are a lot of runs where, like, I think at the moment the number 1 run and number 2 is separated by half a minute. I can actually tell you, like, the highest amount of obtainable points at the moment is 16,810, but you can only get that score if you do that DSA in 0 seconds and 0 minutes, which is impossible. But it's basically what the graph told me. Like, that's the highest achievable score, and then every second from that 0 seconds and 0 minutes is gonna cost you minus 2.05 points. A minute is gonna cost you minus 123. So basically, if you do the math, you basically just take your time spent. So let's say it's I'm actually gonna take out my calculator here, just because this is, like, I might as well talk while you're watching this, because it's I don't know how many comments I can make on the actual gameplay. It's just me chaining and stuff, them killing portals before they even get to materialize. But anyway, let's say we have a 45-minute run. 45 times 123 is 5,535. Then you take that score and detract it from 16,810, and that's in, so 45 minutes would be 11k 275 score, basically. Which means that the top time is actually less than 45 minutes, which is really funny. Ulterior's team has the highest one right now. I think it's 11k 300 something. At least it's the highest on the North American server, I mean.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I think the European server has the highest, like, overall in the world. I think it's 11k 600. They also have the advantage, though, that I think the team that runs it, like the team that's number 1 on the EU, has consistently Emperor buffs and such, whereas DC on North American server is not really blessed by having a good PvP. How do you say? I don't know how to word it, but we don't have a good PvP presence. I mean, like, we get slaughtered by AD and EP, which kind of sucks. See here again, I'm just trying to taunt everything, chain everything. Oh, what's happening? All of a sudden my gameplay just lagged the fuck out. Oh, great. I just had a pop-up window on my on my computer. That's why. Alright, so here what I'm doing, I'm taking the boss and I'm pulling it over to the corner here, trying to grab everything as I do that. The goal is basically to get it to the east side before we have the ad spawn over here, because that way we can basically kill all of it at the same time. You see, here comes the ads. So what they're doing, they're basically just utilizing what's it called, poison spray, I think it's called something like that. I think it's poison spray. It's basically the scatter arrow or whatever it's called from the bow tree, but they use that along with Morak Tong and Hawkeye, I think it is, and that way you can basically just get a shit ton of damage. And the further you are away from your target, the more damage you do as well. So like these two guys, Gilliam and Sloppy here, they're both pulling at least 20k every single round, because they're consistently hitting like a lot of targets at the same time with a really powerful attack. I think it's kind of cheesy that you can like kill the portals before they even get to materialize. Like, I kind of wish that wasn't a feature, because if it wasn't a feature, then everyone would be on the same level as a Nightblade with a bow, pretty much. Because I think actually the #1 team for the EU has a Sork in it, like a sorcerer, which is pretty unheard of because they don't have the ability to kill a portal as quickly as a Nightblade can with a bow, which is, I don't know. But it's the same thing. Like, I'm a DK tank because a DK tank is the easiest one to play, and the healer is a Templar healer because it's the easiest one to play. I mean, it's just they like to say that everything is balanced in this game, but it truly isn't. If it was, you'd have you'd just have like everything be like, I think like Nightblade still don't have a proper self heal like all the other classes, but like if you want to call it balanced, it's gotta be fucking balanced. I mean, the healers is like nobody can really compare with a Templar healer because you don't have the what the fuck is it called? I don't know what it's called, but it has like a lot of overpowered heals that have almost no cast time. Whereas if you're any other class, you pretty much only have your healing staff. So yeah. There's actually something that I didn't really know before doing this run here, but certain enemies in each stage will trigger the next part of the wave that you're on. So like, I think for the 4th stage, like the, what's it called, the Swordmaster or something will trigger the next one. So basically they're targeting the enemies that will trigger the next part of the wave, basically. You see, I'm trying my best here to pick up everything, but I think at this point I'm pretty confused, because it's just going very, very fast. I mean, we're almost through stage 5 and it hasn't even been 20 minutes yet. So this is the stage I was talking about. You take out the archer and then you take out the swordmaster over here, who's to my left right now. As soon as the swordmaster goes down, you have this guy spawning. This is one of the mechanics. He's a shadowcaster, I think he's called. Basically, if you don't kill him fast enough, he's gonna put a curse on your party where you have to go to the tiles on the ground. But like, something that's super funny about the way the game works at the moment is that if you have high enough DPS, you basically don't have to do most of the intended mechanics, because you can skip them if your target just dies fast enough, which is, I think, really poor design, to be honest. Alright, here comes the boss round. So you can see they're actually over to my left, because this way they can hit 3 targets at the same time. And basically, if you want a really fast run, it's just all about where you're standing. You can see I hadn't actually noticed I wanted to keep him still so they could hit all the targets at the same time. So you could see me just stop there for a second. So now I'm pulling him over to the west side, because over here we'll have another Shadowcaster. You see right there. And then basically they're just hitting all of them at the same time. And that's basically just how you do a really fast speedrun. You have extremely high DPS, you kill portals before they really materialize into anything.
That was fast.
So, yeah. You didn't even hear Lou saying that was fast. It was really fast. It's a crazy run. Alright, so this is the end of part 1.